Hello, everybody. My name is Caitriona. Some of you will know me, and some of you will be seeing me for the first time, or might have seen me once or twice in the past. You're very welcome to Hypnosis and Therapy Centre tonight, to the Masterclass. The Masterclass is a very important one that we all should know about, whether we're young or old or whatever, to help our grandmothers through it, to help all our families through it. So from my point of view, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Caitriona, and I'm the other half of the Hypnosis and Therapy Centre. I am a hypnotherapist, I'm a life coach, and I do mindset coaching with lots of other, things I've picked up along the way. So I'm here to help you as best I can in the struggles. Now, I myself I'm going through menopause, and I know it's one of those kind of taboo subjects that we don't really talk about. We might have heard it in our parents' time, or we might have heard it in just women talking together, and it's all doom and gloom. But I'm not here to give you doom and gloom today. I'm here to, yes, it's difficult, yes, it can be very uncomfortable, different things that happen to us, and some of us sail through it. I have to say, I'm not one of those people that sail through it. So I'm here to help based on my own experience, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical nurse, I'm not somebody like that, I'm not a nutritionist, but I do have lots of areas to my bow. So there will be questions, and I thank you very much for those who have sent in questions, and some of you will have questions based on what I'm speaking about now. So what I've decided to do, this is such a big topic that there's so much I could say, and we only have a few short minutes. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to write out a few words, which will make it easier for you to listen. Now, as you know from doing these sessions before, some of you will actually, will close your eyes, because that's what you're used to doing in master classes and when you come to see us as clients, or some of you will just decide to keep your eyes open and have a listen. It's totally up to you. You're going to get the benefits either way. So feel free during the session to take a few notes, or just to let it be. And at the end of the session, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me or Fikra privately, feel free to contact us in your own way, whether it's on the phone or through emails. So for now, I'm just inviting you now just to use this time to either help yourselves if you're going through it, or to help people that you might know might be going through it, or people that you might learn that will go through it in the future. So what I would like you to do now is to settle yourselves in the chairs. And for all you men that are listening in the background, or will be listening when the audio goes out, I want you all to feel, people, even if you're not maybe experiencing it yourself, you might be experiencing it through living with a partner, or maybe a wife, or maybe a sibling, maybe teenagers, or maybe you hear it in the background, you haven't quite got there yourself, and you're not looking forward to it, you're terrified. But it's like anything that we've done through hypnosis with all of you. It's about reframing it and looking at it as you will get through it no matter what. So tonight I'm going to start off by saying, as I've said, for those who've come in a little bit late, to say this is not a medical talk. I'm not a GP or hormone specialist, but I am a woman, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and a well-traveled person on this road of menopause. And it can be a roller coaster for some of us more than others. And I've been on this ride for maybe over a decade now. And yes, I'm still experiencing the hot flushes and the night sweats and the occasional sleepless night. Some weeks more than others. Sometimes I get a full week and I'm delighted with myself. But I have learned a few things along the way that has made a huge difference. And I'm here to share some of these things with you today. And I've learned one powerful truth. We cannot fight with our body and win. But we can listen to our bodies. We can use reframing. We can use hypnosis to help us work through. And you can even learn to understand it a little bit. And through hypnosis, you have already begun to rewire any fears you have about different things already that you've discussed with us. And the same with menopause, releasing the tension and the connection to a sense of strength and calm that's been with you all along. So whether you have your eyes closed or whether you have your eyes open, that's up to you. So make a choice. You're in control, you're in charge. And this is not all gloom and doom talk. I'm not here to scare anybody, scare off the boyfriends or partners or sons or whatever the case may be. In fact, my mission today is the opposite. I want to show you how menopause can be reframed in your mind, not as something to dread, but a powerful rite of passage. A chance to step into the next chapter of your life with a new kind of freedom, a sense of control, knowing that you're going to be all right. Yes, there will be difficult struggles, difficult moments, but some of us have spoken about menopause to others, and we have heard stuff about it. And it's not to be feared. It's to be lived through, just like periods, just like anxiety, just like stress, and all the other negative emotions that we deal with on a daily basis. So whether you're experiencing menopause itself or supporting somebody who has menopause, this talk is for you, men, women alike. And for the men here today, whether they're partners or sons or friends and so on, I'm so glad you're listening, because the more you understand what happens for the women you care about, the more connected and supportive this time can be for everyone. Sometimes just listening, without needing the sense to fix everything, can be the greatest gift that you can offer your friend, your partner, your loved one. You're not there to be a punch bag either. But when your women lose the control and we rant and we rave, spare a thought for what's really going on in our heads and in our bodies, from overheating, from sweats, from pain, from whether it's pain on headaches or whatever sort of pain, and any struggles, so that we can help make sense of what's happening inside. The emotional roller coaster. So anyone here ever wondering why it's called menopause as opposed to womanopause? That's just a statement for now. You can think about it later in your own time. Today, my intention is to offer you all a reframe, to rethink and see a different way of seeing menopause. Not as something to be feared or endured, but as something to be understood, to respect, to be respected as something we go through, and even appreciated as a transition in life, whereby we don't have to be worried about the mundane, worrying about getting pregnant if we don't want to, or all those other things that might be there in the background of our lives. Let's rewind for a moment. We have been conditioned from day one of our lives, really, boys and girls, whichever. By the time we're small, we're taught what to expect in life. And most of it isn't exactly empowering. The terrible twos, the troublesome teens, the dreaded middle-age spreads that we all seem to have sometimes. And then the final level for us women, menopause. And we will get through it no matter what. Remember that always. We've been handed this storyline generation after generation, sent down from grannies to mothers, siblings if they're older than us, that menopause is a time of decline, looking older, feeling older, our bodies are breaking down. It's not a chapter. It's an epilogue. And people say it with such certainty. We just absorb it as if it's true. So remember, just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. As adults, we can inform ourselves of what is the truth. Be careful of AI out there as well, and fake news. So putting ourselves back where we deserve to be, looking after our bodies and our mind, giving ourselves the self-care that we deserve, whether we're men or women, we all deserve time to ourselves. We deserve time to absorb where we're at right now. So what if, let me just ask you, what if menopause isn't the problem, but the way we think about it? Whether we realize it or not, the story becomes part of our subconscious programming, as all you clients have heard many times. We've been hypnotized by society into expecting that this time in our lives will be awful, because that's all we seem to hear about it. And here's the thing. What you expect, you magnify. Remember that. If we're always thinking in the negative, we feel the negative and we find the doom and gloom. Just when, like, we were at school and we were expected to learn Irish, and most of us found it hard, unless you went to an Irish school, of course. And then after the Leaving Cert, most of us couldn't string a sentence together, even after 12 years or more of daily study. That was our conditioning. And if you think about it, many of us have passed that on to our children, or on to our nieces or nephews, or anyone else that we're speaking to about studying. That's not just a fluffy area, that's neuroscience. That's not me making anything up. The brain filters experience based on what has been primed to notice. So if you're expecting struggle, pain, embarrassment, whatever, you will find it. Not because menopause is inherently awful, but because the mind is looking for proof to confirm what it already believes. So we're looking to reframe the struggle. And that's exactly why hypnosis, and particularly self-hypnosis, can be such a game changer in our lives. It allows us to rewrite the script from dread to acceptance, from powerlessness to calm, and from just surviving to actually living. So today I invite you to open your minds and maybe even crack a smile, men, as we explore how our own mindset, how your mindset, how your attitudes and your self-awareness can transform the menopausal journey for yourself and for the women you care about. And also for ourselves. Let's take charge. Let's take control, women. Let's allow ourselves to learn how to be more positive about it, because it's not there all the time. But let's not dread it. Let's just realize it's there, and the uncertainty will go away because we're dealing with it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Because menopause isn't the end. It's not even the beginning of the end. It's just the next page. And you get to decide what you want to write on it. So let's be honest. Most of us have experienced pain and discomfort before many times. Some of us have been lucky enough to give birth. Some of us have worn high heels for many a year. Some get tattoos. And some like vigorous gym classes. Some people have been through heartbreak. Some people have even done some marathons and training. And why do we do it? Because we wanted to. But we did it anyway, even though it was painful, because we wanted to do something that we really believed in or wanted, that the high heels were more important than the sore feet. So let's stop telling ourselves that menopause is this terrifying mystery. It's not, it's just change. And many women have been before and after us going through this change. And it's very uncomfortable, yes. But it's part of who we are. And we can decide whether we want to let it take us down or whether we want to reframe it in a positive way so we can have a plan. Even when it comes to hot flushes and the night sweats, let's make a plan. Now, here's something that might surprise you. A belief is not necessarily the truth. It's simply a thought that's been repeated often enough to feel like it is the truth because we've repeated it. It's been said to us many times over our lives. We believed in Sandy for so many years, the tooth fairy, and some of those people who were a little bit younger I believed in the Easter Bunny. But if something were truly real, you wouldn't really need to believe in it. You would just experience it. For example, you don't believe in breathing. You just do it every day. You don't believe in gravity. You just don't float away unless you're in space. So when we say menopause is miserable, or it's all downhill from 50, you're often not speaking the real truth. Think about it, we're just reflecting on our conditioning. So think about how many fears we have had as children, as we now know aren't real. Monsters under the bed, for instance, the boogeyman. Then we grew up and we learned that they don't exist. So here's the question. What if it's now time? What if it's the right time now to take control and to grow out of the fear of menopause too? Some of us haven't experienced it yet, but yet we're worried about it already because of the conditioning. What if you're one of the many people that it makes no difference and you spend all this time worrying about it? As many of you know, the subconscious is always paying attention. It listens to what you're saying. And when a woman hears over years that menopause will be the death of her femininity, that idea lodges itself deep in our subconscious. And without even realizing it, she starts practicing the struggles years in advance. That's not a joke, that's subconscious rehearsal. And that's why when we work with you through hypnosis, we retrain, we reframe. We help you let go of some of the fears and worries and concerns you might have about different things that you come for. We help you let go of some of the old habits and beliefs so that your focus is on the future. So as you know, we can dehypnotize the fear. We can rehypnotize then the strength and the calm and the confidence that you can have to live your daily lives. And when a symptom of menopause hits you, just accept it, knowing that it's going to pass. Tell yourself you're going to be okay, and it will pass. And I have some other suggestions in a little while for that. I've spoken to many clients over the years that have come to me for other benefits, like anxiety or sleepless nights, etc. And we end up talking about menopause, because sometimes they realize as we talk, and it can be connected to your sleep. It might be affected because of the menopause and never considered before. So just to mention a client that I've had in the past, she once told me, I was dreading menopause since I was 25. I just knew it would be awful. And guess what? It was awful for her until she came to see me and we did a reframe. Not because she was weak and dramatic, but because she had been mentally practicing fear for decades. It was conditioning. Her mind was wired to expect difficulty. She didn't know any better. And this is what I call subconscious rehearsal. And it's very powerful, isn't it? Because that's what we've all done in all of the different struggles we've come to the Hypnosis and Therapy Centre with. But here's the good news, everybody. Like with anything else, if you can rehearse struggle, you can rehearse a calmness. If your mind can magnify discomfort, your mind can magnify resilience and strength and focus and confidence and empowerment and all those positive emotions that we speak about during our sessions. And that's where self-hypnosis comes in. And we've all done work to help you with self-hypnosis. And practice is a great thing. Hypnosis allows us to press pause on the noise of the outside world and to listen inwardly. That's why closing your eyes can be very helpful, because it distracts you from anything around the rooms. Hypnosis allows us to press pause and listen intently and inwardly and with patience and with contentment. It gives us access to the part of the mind that doesn't know the difference between what's imagined and what's real. That's the same part that responds emotionally to a dream or a scary movie, even when we know it isn't real. So what happens when we use that same part of our mind to imagine something empowering, something soothing, something hopeful? Yes, that's right. We create a new response to the same trigger. The hot flush might come, and they might still come, but it no longer sends you into panic. You know it'll pass. The sleepless night might still happen. That's right. But it doesn't spiral into dread, because your relationship to the experience has changed. And that's what hypnosis offers you. Not a cure for menopause, but a collaboration of your relationship with it. And that shift changes everything. So you can thrive rather than just survive. Let's be clear now. We're not pretending menopause is a walk in the park. We're not denying that it can be uncomfortable, exhausting, confusing. But we know it doesn't have to be such a struggle, because once we are prepared for it, that's right, preparing our body and our minds, it becomes easier to go through knowing it will pass, believing it will pass, knowing you will survive it, because many have before you and after you will. But a bit more positive, engaging with your emotions and just letting it happen, preparing yourself. It will pass. So what I'm saying is, let's meet this transition with curiosity and clarity, not fear. Let's question the script we've inherited and write our own script instead. Because menopause isn't another punishment for us women. It's not a failure of the body. It's a natural transition into a new chapter of life. And some of us get very afraid because we don't understand what's happening. And we feel it's not fair. It's not fair that we have to go through periods, have to go through childbirth if we are lucky enough to have children or want to have children. And then on top of that, we have this to go through. But it's like anything else you're dealing with, whether it's anxiety, whether it's stress, whether it's stop smoking, whether it's addictions. These are all things that happen to us. We have ups and downs in lives. But with reframes, we can help ourselves through it. And it will pass. And maybe it'll only be a minute or two until another week or so. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. But if we just focus on how we want to live our lives in between, but prepare ourselves in some ways to make the transition easier. So remember, it's not a punishment. It's not a failure. It's a natural transition into a new chapter of our lives. And how you want to, and how you decide to, and how you use control to walk you through that transition, whether it's with dread or with dignity, is something you have more influence over than you think. And to the men listening, this matters for you too. When you understand that a woman's body and mind is collaborating, not breaking down, it's changing. It changes everything, even for you. It's not about walking on eggshells. It's about walking with the person, with patience, with humor at times, and with empathy. What if you were going through the same things? How would you cope? What would you expect for your partner to do to help you? Yes, it can be an uncomfortable experience for a lot of us women. However, the discomfort is a physical experience. while suffering is our powerless reaction as we fight against it. And it will pass, and it always does. So remember that. It's an uncomfortable experience. It's a physical experience. But while suffering is our powerlessness and our powerless reactions as we fight against it, it will pass, as it always does. Let's just talk about symptoms for a moment, just in case anyone hasn't experienced it, or anyone would like to know, especially partners, to know a little bit more about it. The ones that we don't really like to say out loud, I suppose, the symptoms. Because while menopause isn't the monster we've been led to believe, the symptoms are very real. Hot flushes, night sweats, mood swings, yes, men, mood swings, women, mood swings, brain fog, forgetting what we wanted to say, or forgetting somebody's name, or forgetting a place we might want to remember. And weight changes can be another unwanted monster. Sleep disruption, or sometimes crying for no reason. And I'm sure there's many more, but they're the main ones. So men, imagine having to deal with that daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And I know mood swings can be very difficult. And sleep deprivation, if it's disturbing you, or even us crying for no reason, so to speak. But these are all emotional things that go on in our bodies. It's just like anger. It's just like lashing out at people when they annoy us. We have to learn, as we've learned through hypnosis, to center ourselves, to find a new foundation of calm and peace and contentment, so that when we do lose our rag, that sometimes we will be able to step back and stop it from bubbling up to 10 out of 10 and bring it back down to a manageable level. But I suppose whether it's men or women, if we anger each other, or we upset each other, or we're very mean to each other, apologies are something that we need to communicate over, not maybe in that moment, but at another time. And all of these symptoms for everybody, they are not imagined. And just in case some of you think out there they are imagined, or they're made worse, or it's an excuse. It's never an excuse. It's an emotion, regardless of what the symptom is. And learning to deal with those. Some of us are great at doing it, and some of us are not so great. And there's times we overreact, but that's life. We all go through that. We're all human. None of us are perfect. So living with menopause within a family is a family support. I know you're not making a fuss. They do happen. They're part of the hormonal shifts in the body. So patience, kindness, support. Just imagine going through some of those or all of those in a week. But here's the crucial point. Fighting the symptoms doesn't work. In fact, it makes them even worse. And it makes the uncertainty of them coming again more terrifying. But whatever the emotion is, whether it's anxiety, whether it's stress related, whether it's anger, frustration, whatever the symptom. So menopause is no different. Resisting the experience adds tension. The tension exaggerates, exacerbates discomfort. Understanding our bodies, learning to pause and respond instead of panic and react. That's where the real power lies. Understanding our bodies, learning to pause and respond instead of panic and react. That's where the real power is. And for the men, understanding that these moments are not personal, that they're not emotional attacks. They're not physiological. can help you maybe in some way to hold space without taking it on board as a personal attack. And the symptoms we experience are signals, not enemies. What if, instead of seeing the symptoms as enemies, we treat them as signals? A hot flush might be the body saying, slow down. A mood swing might be the whole body asking for stillness. You see, menopause is not just a hormonal event. It's a biological recalibration. It's the body saying, we're shifting gears now. This is a different engine. And it runs differently. You wouldn't put petrol into a diesel car, would you? And expect it to perform? Absolutely not. So why are we trying to apply youthful expectations to a body that's moved into a new phase? We don't need to fix menopause. We need to understand it and adjust our lives accordingly. This is where self-hypnosis becomes more than just a technique. It becomes a lifeline. Many pages. Because unlike a pill or a patch or a cold flannel at 3 a.m., self-hypnosis is something that you can do anytime, anywhere. We all know this. It allows us to slow our breathing, settle our bodies, settle the whole of our bodies even. Reframe our inner narrative and return to a place of calm in the middle of chaos even. When it passes, bring back the calm. This is not magic. It's self-regulation, and we've all learned to use it through self-hypnosis. And if you need any more help with that, just ask. Just ask one of us. What's working with the body instead of fighting against it? That's right. Just work with the body, self-regulate the body. Let us give you a few practical examples that you can take away today. Start your morning knowing that you can get as much done as you can. It may not be as much as you want, but it will be as much as you can. So be proud of yourself. Another good thing. Prepare your menopause go bag. Have a small kit with you. A deodorant, cooling wipes, water spray, a fresh top, fresh underwear, fresh set of clothes. Because sometimes our feet sweat and we need a spare pair of socks. So we're comfortable. It's like having your gym bag with you all the time. It's like if you had children, you have your children's bag with you all the time, but it's specifically for you. That when you're going out, whether it's in the car or in the office, that we have these there so we know that we can refresh ourselves if we need to. So it puts our mind at ease. It's not about expecting disasters or how am I going to do this or what am I going to do if. It's about preparing. It's about removing the fear and knowing that you're prepared reduces the anxious response to the symptoms itself. Here's something we don't talk about enough. Menopause isn't just physical. It's deeply emotional. An emotional roller coaster like other emotions that we've been dealing with throughout our lives. So for many women, it brings up questions about their identity maybe and their purpose if you can't have children anymore. Sometimes women are delighted. Sometimes women really struggle with that because maybe they haven't had the family they wished or extended family they wish. Because a lot of women nowadays are waiting till later. These come with deep programming from being told that our worth is in our youth, our beauty, our ability to bear children, our capacity to serve. And none of those are who you are in this moment. You are not becoming less during menopause, but you are evolving into this new wise and empowering state. It's not a loss, it's a revelation. And through hypnosis, you can reintroduce yourself to that woman, the woman who has been believing in the stories of dread and fear all of these years. And we can and help you reflect on that, give you back control, so that you can make a decision to let go some of those beliefs, those worries, those concerns, knowing that you will be okay and you will get through it. And one of the most powerful parts of this work is watching women finally give themselves permission to stop struggling. Remember that self-care we talk about. To rest when you need to say no without feeling guilty. Children say it often enough. So let us now, as adults, say no without the guilt. To feel emotions, and these emotions without apology. To own your voice and to reclaim your identity. Maybe it's been difficult rearing children, or maybe your middle age has been difficult and now you're moving on. Maybe you're looking at retiring or doing something new. To reclaim your identity. The discomfort of menopause can be the reason to reset your attitude so that now you can feel worthy. To finally say to yourself, this is who I am now, and I don't need to justify it. And for men, this is often a time your partner needs space, understanding, and reassurance that you're still beside her, even when she pulls back a little. She's not withdrawing from you. She's returning to herself or finding her new self. So we spoke about resting ourselves, looking after ourselves, and we spoke about looking after ourselves in whatever way that we find works for us, to own our own voice, to say no without guilt, to feel emotion without apology, and to make sure we look after ourselves in the best possible way. And the discomfort of menopause can be the reason to reset your attitude so that you can now feel worthy and finally say, this is who I am now, and I don't need to justify it. And yes, the men in our lives, the partners in our lives, the sons in our lives, those that we live with, this is often the time that they can give you space, understanding, and reassurance that they're still beside you and that you still want them in your lives. You're just pulling back a little because you're just withdrawing, because you're just unsure. Maybe it's new. Maybe you're not sure. So rather than bracing for what has always been predictable, now you can embrace your new evolved state. So just let me tell you a story, another story. I had another client in her early 50s. From the outside, she had everything. She had it all put together, a successful career, grown-up children, lovely home. But inside, she was quietly falling apart. She came to me after yet another sleepless night, thinking that she was going mad because of the lack of sleep. And she was waking up drenched in sweat, anxious for no reason, angry at her partner, losing the cool, forgetting words mid-sentence and crying at the drop of a hat. Of course, she went to her GP and he'd offered her HRT, which helped a little. What she really needed wasn't just hormonal imbalance. She needed to feel like herself again. And we started working with self-hypnosis, not to fix her symptoms, but to help her see them differently, to soften the internal fight, to calm the whole system, to help her make peace with change. After her third session, her language shifted. Instead of saying, I hate my body, she began saying, I'm listening to my body. Instead of saying, I feel like I'm disappointed or I'm disappearing, she said, I'm rediscovering who I am. That didn't come with her medication. It came from a mindset shift. Like I said, so many women spend years embracing themselves for menopause, as if it's a storm to survive. But what if we approached it like a wave? Waves rise and the waves fall. If we fight them, we get knocked over. But if we move through them, you float. You find your rhythm. You build strength in your core. So remember, menopause isn't here to drown you. It's here to deepen your understanding of what's going on in your body and where you're going. It's time to reassess what matters to you, to clear what no longer serves you, to declutter your mind, as I've said many times, to give yourself permission to stop living by everyone else's expectations. That's not selfish, it's fulfilling. Man or woman, it's not selfish, it's fulfilling. And it's where real transformation begins. Let's turn to the role of hypnosis here, specifically self-hypnosis. We're talking about gently guiding your attention inward to retrain your response to stress, to update your beliefs, and to settle your mind, body, and spirit from the inside out. It puts you back in control. Men, women alike, it puts you back in control. We don't need to glamorize the struggle, but we also don't need to dramatize it either. Think of menopause as a map. You're redrawing. The terrain is changing, the landscapes and the landmarks are shifting. But that doesn't mean you've lost. It means you're rediscovering the new version of yourself. The woman who doesn't need to explain her choices. The woman who sets boundaries without guilt. The woman who no longer wastes energy in the wrong places. And for you men, it's a chance to meet the new version of her with curiosity, not confusion, to see that she's not losing herself, she's finding a deeper level, a deeper layer of who she is. This is your upgrade, women, not your ending. And yes, you might still have hot flushes, night sweats and sleepless nights, but also have tools. You'll have a plan and you'll have a mindset that says, I got this. You're still you, just a better version of you. The truth is, menopause doesn't change who you are. It reveals more of who you've always been beneath the noise. It peels back the layers. Some of you would have heard me talking about the layers of an onion. It peels back the layers, the people-pleasing, the performance, performing in a way you feel you should be. And what's left is someone wiser, more grounded, more real. You're not becoming less of yourself. You're becoming more complete, more unapologetic, more intrusive, more at peace with your body, more able to say, no, thank you, I'm resting today without feeling guilt. We stop bracing. We stop believing the cultural horror stories. We stop treating menopause as a personal failure or biological betrayal. And we start from today, listening to our bodies, responding with compassion, practicing self-hypnosis or mindfulness, talking openly, laughing when we can, and reframing what this phase truly means. And a final takeaway, let's rewrite your own story. If you take nothing else from today, take this. You don't have to suffer through menopause. You can evolve through it. You don't have to surrender to fear. You can step into freedom. You don't have to brace for the worst. You can prepare for the best. And with self-hypnosis as your daily anchor, a quiet, gentle reset, you can walk this path your way. Remember, not as a victim of symptoms, but as the author of your new chapter. A chapter that says, I am not broken. I am becoming. I am not fading. I am focusing. I am not less. I am more. So let's stop surviving. Let's start rewriting. And let's make this the most powerful experience of our lives. So now, I have to apologize for the technical issues that I had. And because of that, there's not really much time for questions. But what I would like you to do is to email me in or ring Faker or myself with any questions that you might have based on the topic we've touched on here tonight. And remember, positive thinking. When your friends are talking about it, try and look at, well, at least at the end of menopause, I won't have to worry about those certain things that I do now. And I'm moving on to the next phase of my life. And most people say that when they retire, life only begins. Take care for now.